Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. We come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, have you had enough rain yet, folks? We all prayed for rain a couple of years ago. I remember doing all kinds of things to preserve rain at my house. I live on some property that needs a lot of water. And we prayed for rain, and it looks like our little short, little late in coming, but boy, do we have it. And I, for one, just love the crisp, fresh air, and I love being able to see the mountains straight forward. It is good to be in California right now. Half the time you live near a mountain and you can't even tell it. But lately it has just been fabulous, and I'm just very, very grateful. Well, I have a lot of things I want to share with you today. For one, I want to give a shout out to two of my really good friends. And as we are talking, they will be celebrating. He is 100 years old today, and his wife, who was a very famous model, is now 90 years old. And what extraordinary lives they have lived. They are in second marriages, and they've lost previous spouses, but just amazing people. Don and Stephanie, I won't give you their last name, but if you know me, you know them, I'm sure. Anyway, they are people who, in some of the darker days of my life, just simply invited me over and said, "Why don't you join us for dinner?" And just cared enough to reach out. And I'll never forget them as long as they live. They are extraordinary people, and tickled pink to be 100 years old. And I'm tickled pink to get to know them and be part of their lives. They're having a big celebration the day this airs, and I will be there along with a whole lot of other people. So, it tells me that there is still good in the world. It's an interesting thing that is happening with all of this technology and media that is taking place out there. Somehow it makes you think that maybe life isn't as good as it once was. But it's an interesting thing. I so much enjoy my life of late, as long as I keep the television off. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to think Jeopardy and the Wheel of Fortune are looking good again. I'm just to the point, and we've got a long ways to go before the election time, and I'm just to the point where I can hardly turn on the media. And in the meantime, I don't know about you, but does it get to you the fact that you're on there, you're doing your research, you're trying to find an article, they're bringing up things to you, and in the meantime, you can't read the story. They give you some headline, but they don't tell you who it is that they're talking about, and you just can't read the story. So here you are researching. I do a huge amount of research. I don't know about you, but it's important to me when I read things that are being sent to me, and I have a massive amount of stuff being sent to me. The first thing I want to look at is it true? What is the motivation behind the person who is printing this? And if it's one of those things that starts out by, some tease that I won't say. I saw one this week. There's something about two engineers fell off a train or something, and you go, "Well, that's fascinating enough," and you start to try to find out where that is, and I counted like seven ads or promotions in between. They even start the story, and then I found out it was in India. And I'm like, really? Why didn't you just tell me that in Bangladesh, two engineers fell off a train, and quit wasting my time so you can sell ads? And it really gets to me what is going on in our world. I think about that because one of the things that the work that Million Kids does, and this show is brought to you by an organization called Million Kids, is to teach kids how to be online in a way where they don't get violated, and also to provide interference and assistance if they are in a situation where they're being violated. But how on earth can you ever figure out who you're talking to and what is happening. So, for the last couple of weeks, I've been running a series, and we're going to have a guest here in the next segment shortly, and then I'm going to pick up on the segment that we're talking about. But I've been running a segment about young people across the U.S., and these are just extraordinarily good, successful, smart young people, very responsible, very disciplined, very goal oriented, that ended up meeting the wrong person online and trusting them. And ultimately, either getting caught in a situation where they were filmed or sending some sort of photo, and their life changed dramatically. In the cases that we're talking about, we're seeing a whole trend across the United States where literally several hundred kids have ended up taking their own life because of the blackmail of the situation that they're in. And so, one of the things that we do at Million Kids is that we work with local organizations. We also work with the Riverside County Sheriff Department and the Anti Human Trafficking Task Force. And we go out and we train in order for parents to understand and young people to understand what is happening. And we're going to be doing that on March 3rd over at the Rock Church. And so, very shortly, I'm going to have a guest on from the Rock Church to tell a little bit about what they're going to provide. It is open to the public. You may want to attend. It starts about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It goes to 5 on a Saturday, so you can get all your errands done or take your kids to soccer before it goes. But one of the discussions that we had when we were planning this is that we want kids to have hope and we want them to see the positive, but we also want them to be aware of the negative that is going on. And that is really a challenge because we have in this generation put our kids online and they now know more than we know. But they don't have, that adult cognitive reasoning when they get themselves trapped in one of these situations where they have been in a situation where maybe they're going to be blackmailed. And it's important that we have the dialogue, but how do we have the dialogue without having all the conversation about what happens and where does that naked photo go when you hit send? And who are the people and what is going to happen to you when you send that photo? So it's a fine line in talking with your kids because you don't want them to be terrified. You don't want them to see the worst of the worst online. By the same token, you want to raise your children in such a way that they can be using the internet in a way that's respectful to themselves and to others and not get themselves in trouble. But the number one thing I think is important is for them to understand if they do get in trouble, it is okay to come and talk about it. In fact, that is the most important thing to do. If you get yourself in trouble online, be willing to go to somebody and talk about it, because this is exactly what foreign national companies have understood. Predators and pedophiles and gangs and cartels all over the world now have high-speed 5G internet connection that reaches our children. And when we put our kids online, it's no longer just with 40-some people they know. They're going to be out there in the great big world where they will encounter millions of people, and a portion of those people are not nice, and they will wreck your life if you give them the chance. But the dialogue that's important to have is, if you find yourself ensnared, don't panic, don't do anything crazy, and be willing to come and talk to an adult that can help you through it. Trust us enough to understand that every one of us at some point in time is going to fail online. We're either going to get caught up in being, hacked, or with artificial intelligence. All of us that have photos online can very easily have our photo altered, and then the blackmail will begin. So we're entering an entire new era. And I think that it's time for us to step back and start to talk about how do we make our kids leaders in an era where you really have to understand the world you're living in and also understand that if you fail, it's okay to come and talk to someone. In fact, I think part of the dialogue needs to be why it is okay to fail, and the fact that even if you end up finding yourself in a mess, don't panic, don't hurt yourself. Come and talk to somebody, because by your reporting what is happening to you, you will be able to save others. And that is really, really an important discussion. So with that, we're going to come up against a break here, and then I'm going to have Michelle Balderas from the Rock Church join us. So hang in there with us, and we're going to be right back.
Are you tired of eating at the same old restaurants? Let me tell you about a fabulous Italian restaurant we found in Riverside, Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant. Their caprese salad is exquisite with candied balsamic glaze. All of their sauces are special recipes using only the best olive oils. The salads are fresh and healthy. They offer a wonderful array of pastas, including shrimp scampi, capellini, bolognese, and lasagna. They're famous for their gourmet pizza, and you can order online for takeout or have a special date for dining in with family and friends. Mamma Mia's caters special occasions and host private events. You have to try it out. Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant, located at 10971 Magnolia Avenue in Riverside, 1 block north of La Sierra on Magnolia. That's Mamma Mia's in Riverside. Be sure to tell Michael, Alex, or Joseph you heard it on AM 590 The Answer.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of MillionKids.org. I believe the 4 most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. I'm the host of your show, and the show is brought to you by an organization called Million Kids. MillionKids.org, not .com, that's a rock band. MillionKids.org. Well, as I promised in the first session, we are going to have a guest during this session, and I'm very, very excited because I've been working with Michelle for quite some time now to get ready for a conference that's going to be hosted March 3rd at the Rock Church on Waterman in San Bernardino. So I'd like to introduce you right now. This is the children's pastor, Michelle Balderas, and she is with Rock Church. You want to say hello and tell us a little bit about what you do there at the church?
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle. As Opal previously mentioned, my husband and I are the children's pastors at the Rock. So we cover from nursery all the way up until 6th grade.
Great. I've been there and I'm in awe. Oh my gosh, you need a guide to get around there. That's huge. But also the people I've met there are just amazing people. So you contacted us because you wanted to have an event, but you want it to be a special kind of event for parents and kids. Tell us what you had in mind here.
So as pastors, it's been on our heart for a couple of years now, as we see technology just really consuming the lives of our kids and our families and the effects of it, right? The dangers associated with using technology. And as I guess for us, what we really started seeing was everything on the other side, meaning, we're having these spiritual guidances and we're seeing kids who, are struggling with depression and struggling with suicidal thoughts and, are talking about being bullied, and as well as, just struggling with their identity. And we've had so many, parents come up to us and say they're so concerned, and, they found this on their phone and they found this on their laptop, and they've just been exposed to so much at such a young age. And it's really hard to undo those things, right? So we started thinking about, we just need to be able to give our parents the resources that they need to raise awareness and to really bring to light the tactics of the enemy so that we can get ahead of this and we could better prepare ourselves so that we could steward the gifts that God has given us. So that's really where we're at. It's been long overdue, in my opinion. So I have been trying to navigate, how do we go about doing this? And thankfully, the Lord put you in my path. And so I had the wonderful opportunity of watching you present at another event, and it was everything we needed and more. And so I was just extremely grateful to be able to, well, we are extremely grateful to be able to partner with you in this. And we're excited to see how, this benefits the children and the families at the Rock, as well as the public. We've opened this event to the public, so we're excited. We've been launching it on social media and, advertising it within the congregation, passing out flyers, giving it to the schools around us. So we're excited.
That's really great. One of the things I really appreciate about what you're planning here, Michelle, is that you're having a kind of an overview kind of thing, but then you have breakout sessions with some incredible experts. And I know one of them is a gal that works with me and kids, Linda Berg-Herring, who has been for at least between 30 and 40 years a private investigator for child sex crimes. And she's going to talk about how well you know your child, especially if your child gets in trouble or they disappear. But tell us a little bit, too, about, I think that you're having Joyful Child Foundation and a couple of others. Who else is speaking there? And you're going to have workshops for parents at the same time you're having workshop for kids, right?
Correct. Yeah. So yourself and your partner will be presenting. You guys will be opening up the main session. And providing just parents with an overview, as well as just getting them up to date on everything that's out there as well. And then what happens after that, obviously some of this information, because we've opened it up to 5th grade and up, the content, we want to make sure it's age appropriate. So we have created breakout sessions so the kids can hear the dangers that are associated, but as well on their level. So we have a preteen, we'll have breakout sessions for preteens, as well as breakout sessions for high school age as well. We're going to have San Bernardino Sheriff's Department joining us, which we're super excited. We'll be going into they'll be attending what's called a BRAVE workshop, where they will teach them about self-awareness and some self-defense tools. So we're super excited about that. As well as we also have, I do not know how to say his name, Joe, and I would butcher his last name.
Joel Pabelico, he's one of my heroes. He works for the Riverside County Child Exploitation Team, that's called RSET, and they're the group that handles online sexual exploitation. Go ahead about his little dog he's bringing.
Yeah, so I've actually never had the opportunity to witness, his presentation. But Opal, you've told me so many amazing things. The canines will be joining us. So what they're going to be listening. The teenagers and our preteens are going to be listening to some pretty heavy content. But we wanted to bring this to them in a relevant way and just really add a twist to it. So to get them engaged and to have a little fun with it as well. And so we're excited to be able to just we're not trying to take their phones away. That's not our hearts. Right. What we're trying to do is to teach them how to honor and glorify Christ when they're using technology. And that's really our goal, as well as, so after the breakout sessions, we were talking about that. We'll be doing several. We also have another breakout session for parents that will have an IT session, whereas we're teaching them practical tools. We'll be talking about how to set up parental controls with an iPhone, with an Android, with your Mac, with just all of these different platforms, in as well as just being able to give them resources to take home so they can look at the apps that their kids are, playing with, from Roblox to Instagram to TikTok, if they allow those things, and how to go into those applications and be able to set individual parental controls for each one. And in following that, we'll have a message of hope for everybody that'll be combined. We'll come back into a general session. So there'll be a message of hope from our pastors, myself, my husband, and Pastor Joel, who is our restoration pastor at the Rock, and just talk about, all of these things that we've spoken about, but being able to point them back to Christ, right? Like, he is our hope. So being able to give them that message and talk about, okay, if this is how to have safe talk, how to, navigate those difficult conversations, as well as, what to do if you have been exposed, and talk about the shame and the guilt associated with that. But then obviously give them that message of hope and talk to them about, how God is going to help us overcome that.
Every one of those are really, really important. I'm especially fond of Joe Pabelico because he brings out the device dog. One of the things that our audience may not understand is one of the reasons so many people want to trick our kids into sending photos is they buy, sell, and trade them online. And one of the things that I loved about working with Michelle is being able to talk about how to ask for help. This generation is the first generation that will live in a technology world. We're experiencing a technology transformation unlike ever happened in history. And while it's important to say thou shalt not at times, it's more important to have those open conversations and ask for help and learn to help each other.
Right. Right. And that's where I think, it's so important to be able to have a community where, you have all these resources, and so that they know that they're not alone. They know that, they have the support that they need within the church. And, you all are going to be there with your tables and be able to give them your information as to if they have further questions in regards to your organization. So we're just really excited to be able to partner with the best of the best. With San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, Riverside Task Force, yourself, Sandy Dorton, with Joyful Child Foundation. And so, and then in respect, at the end of it, what we see we've been able to go to a couple conferences, and what we see is everybody, they get the information, but they get the world's perspective on how to approach this. And so we want to approach this from the biblical standpoint and be able to say, no, you have a hope, and his name is Jesus. And let me introduce you to him if you don't know about him, and be able to pray with the families and be able to, help them begin that path of restoration and healing in their families. Because as we all know, once children are exposed, it's not only the actions of the child don't only affect that child, they affect everyone around them.
That is so true. I keep telling people this is not an individual crime. This is a situation that affects the entire family. Well, Michelle, you've been great. I'll reiterate about the information in the next segment, but I hope to see you there on March 3rd at the Rock Church.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
It's break time, folks. We'll be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we're talking about the conference that is being held at the Rock Church on March 3rd. It starts, you can show up around noon. It starts about 12:30. There's going to be a lot of people, at least 200 people have already registered. There is no charge for it. Please bring your children. There are breakout sessions that are age appropriate, and then they will have nursery and like that. So they will have a main session, and then we're looking to put the teenagers, especially off into their own private section. I believe there will be an earlier teen session, kind of a preteen kind of age in there. And then we're going to have sessions just for parents. And they have all kinds of speakers that are going on. I happen to be one of them. And then Linda Herring is going to be with us. She is a private investigator that she often provides her services to me and kids. She helps us when we have missing and runaway kids. And by the way, if you don't get our flyers for the Million Kids Missing Kids, please go to millionkids.org and sign up for the newsletter, and you will get the flyers. One of the things that Linda's going to talk about is how well do you know your child? And she often talks about this. If your child went missing this afternoon, what were they wearing this morning? Have you thought about that? What apps do they have? What are their passwords? Who do they talk to on all of those apps? How often do you check their phone? Do they have a calculator on the phone where they're hiding other apps? Is there someone that they're particularly close to, or is there a risk that they might go out and meet up with someone? And all of these things will be important for you to understand. And that's Linda Herring that'll be doing that particular session. Also, one of the ones that I really wanted to share with you is the guys from the RSET team, Riverside County Child Exploitation Team. That's a combination of the Riverside County Sheriff and the Riverside County District Attorney. They have what is called a device dog. I think they're probably going to bring Chewy. They might bring Solo, I'm not sure. But anyway, device dogs are dogs that are trained to sniff out electronic devices, things like thumb drives and hard drives and things like that. You see, one of the reasons why people trick your children into sending photos is that they are bad guys. They are pedophiles, and they want to collect these photos. So oftentimes your kids go online, they think they're talking to some hot little 14-year-old girl or guy, and the next thing you know, they've sent off something or they're filmed in live streaming. One of the things that I think is so important is for parents to understand the power of live streaming on your child's video game. If they're on Discord or Fortnite or any of those PUBG games, they can see right into your child's bedroom, into your living room. They see your other children. And, the blackmail can often begin very quickly. And what you'll often see is that kids go into shame. They go into embarrassment. One of the things I really wanted to talk to you about today is why it's okay to fail. I've been doing a study and I've been doing a series, those of you that listen to this show every week. And by the way, I believe this show's been on the air 7 years now. I was counting that up and I'm like, holy cow, how could that be? I was so young then. I look back now at all that I've done. I don't know what made me think we can do this, but I'm changing the subject here. I look back, and one of the things I really want to say with kids is, our kids have to learn to live in the world of technology. Now, is there a time and a place that you don't allow them phones? Absolutely. You're the parent. And it's your phone, by the way. You're the one that's signing all those agreements, including the apps that they download, saying, I'm giving my word that I'm not going to do this, and then I'm not going to hand it to a kid that's under 13 or a kid that's under 18, depending on the app. And then the next thing you know is you hit I agree and you hand it to your kid and they're 9 years old. So think about what is happening here. You start to live in a world unlike any of us are prepared for. And one of the things, two things happen that I really want to say, maybe three things. One is, I believe it is the greatest calling of all time to teach our children to live in this new world. And it is a new world. It's a world where literally people from Pakistan and Nigeria can come right into your child's bedroom, right into their bed if they're sleeping with their phone, and talk to your child. Who would believe that was possible even 5 years ago or 10 years ago? But here we are. So I think it's the most important thing in all we've ever done in our lives is to teach our kids to live in a global world. A world, my book is called Societal Shift, A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. And that's exactly what we're living in. So as our kids begin to mature, they get exposed to technology at school. We have to begin to have those conversations with them because it isn't like the old days where you didn't know anything about what was happening until you were 13 years old. And by the time you're 6, 7, 8 on our media, you are seeing stuff. And it isn't just whether or not it's sexual or not. We talk about morality. I often talk with teenagers. What about digital morality? Is it okay for you to kill a cop even if it's online? Is it okay for you to have sex with an animated girl online and then you kill her to get your money back in your video game? We need to talk about what is real and what is not. The reason for that is your child is going to meet millions of people, and you're not going to be there when that happens. And so it is up to us to start to define who our children can meet and then also prepare them so that they are clever enough to understand who that is potentially. I often talk with kids, how do you know you're talking to a bad guy online? Every kid I ever met thinks they're going to know if they're being catfished. They won't. Trust me. These people are really, really good. On top of it, it is not uncommon now with these Nigerian telemarketing companies and Pakistani telemarketing companies for your child to be talking to 6 to 8 to 12 different people online, and they will never know but what it is one person. They're very good. And as artificial intelligence takes over and they can modify all kinds of images, this is going to get scarier and scarier. I have been running a series about kids who made a bad decision and then they ended up making another bad decision of taking their own life rather than to go to an adult and talk about what has happened. This is one of the reasons why I want to talk the rest of the series today is talking to your kid about why it is okay to fail, but also what to do if you have failed. One of the things that is just really, really sad about the world that I now live in, and I've been doing this 14 years, is in the past, the kids, they would get in trouble. They'd be bullied at school. It was hard on them and like that. But somebody would find out and they could help them intervene. But the sophistication level of this artificial intelligence and these deep fakes, and also the sophistication level of these Nigerian telemarketing companies and Pakistani telemarketing companies are such that they force the child into believing their only way out is to hurt themselves or take their own life. Start talking today about the world they live in and start to bulletproof your kid. It is going to be far more than thou shalt not. It's got to be, let's follow me and kids. All these stories are posted on there. Sit down with your child and say, okay, what happened here? And what if this was you? How would you handle it? One of the things that I want to share with families is that it is okay to fail. It is not okay to think that you are a failure. There is a big difference between I am ruined, I am shamed, I'm a failure, and I made a mistake. But how can I benefit from this mistake in a way that I can help others and learn something myself? Failure helps in getting a redirection. It shows you what you shouldn't have done or shouldn't do or should do, but it also gives you an opportunity to literally share with others and to reevaluate what you've done and come back stronger and better with better reasoning. And on top of it, if you're willing to do that, to admit that you made a mistake and come with your parents and work it out, you very likely could save one to hundreds of other kids. You are not their only victim. My name is Opal Singleton. This show is Exploited Crimes and Technology. We come to you every Saturday at 3 o'clock. We have one more segment, so we're going to ask you to stay with us. We will be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty, 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. Our organization is called millionkids.org, and I truly hope that you will go on and sign up for our newsletter. And, if you want to contact me, you can do that. Opal, O-P-A-L, at millionkids.org. I'm out and about in the community all the time. I always enjoy meeting each and every one of you that come up to me. I appreciate all of those that support us financially in the work that we do. This work is hard work, But I believe that this is the most important calling of all time. That's the reason why I'm still doing what I'm doing. People go, when are you going to retire? And I go, I don't know. I'm probably going to just be dead in my tracks one day. Who knows? But, this is the most exciting time in all of history. And every day it gets more interesting all the time. I get so frustrated and upset when I see the media using all this technology in ways that are deceitful and distorting, and they tease you and then they give you half truths and stuff like that. What a powerful truth to show leadership using this technology, to come on and let people know truth is important, integrity, your personal reputation and your online reputation is everything. I see all of these stories and I'll go, that isn't true. That isn't true either. But you get hit so many times a day that it is hard to filter out what is true and what is not. Plus, like I said, in my case, I do a lot of research and they'll give you a headline that tells you almost nothing. And you go in there and read the article, and if you're going to print it, it's going to take 14 pages to print it. And you still didn't get to any bottom line on the darn thing. And I say to myself, this is the world our kids live in. They're going online with the idea that they're going to meet somebody who thinks they're wonderful. And they're going to hook up and they're going to be cool and they're not going to make any mistakes. None of us can survive that with that kind of attitude. I think it's time to sit down with our kids and say, when you go on the World Wide Web, you're going to screw up sooner or later. It is going to happen. And I hope that you will trust us enough to come to us. It isn't all about, I'm going to take your phone if you do this or you do that. Certainly, I'm going to look at your phone because I want to learn too. There are no real guidebooks out there on what's okay and what isn't okay. So talk to your child and say, I see these kids out here that end up sending a photo. Let me give you, from my perspective, mom and dad that are listening, let me give you some hints. The first sign that your child might be in trouble online is that they will talk to someone who moves them from one app to another. If you're on a dating site, they move you off site. Oh, let's talk privately. They're listening. If you're on TikTok, they move you to Instagram. They're trying to verify you're not a cop, and they're also trying to see if you're willing to follow. The next thing is they will say, this is our little secret. That is a huge red flag. Tell your kids, if this is their little secret, you've never met those people. You don't know how many people they're telling. And if you can't tell about what you're doing, that ought to be a huge red flag. If you can't admit it to other people, that ought to be a huge red flag. And the third one is, no matter how cute, how sexy, how hot, how wonderful they look, if they want your photo, they are not your friend, period. Any kind of photo. It's that simple. Those three rules are a start. But then you share with your kids, look, if you get kind of tricked into it, you didn't mean to, they'll almost always be a friend of a friend, or you think you kind of know them. Ask your question. Ask yourself a question. How much do I really know about this person? Can you Google them? Do you have a picture of them? Take that image and drag it over to Google Images and see all the places they look up and they show up online. Again, do not be sending photos to someone you have never met, because you don't know but what they're in Bangladesh or Nigeria or Pakistan, which is what has happened to so many of these young kids that just made a snap decision to send that off. So they move you, they want a photo, and they tell you not to tell. Those three things right there ought to be a bonfire going off in your brain that you're going to be in trouble online and like that. But if you find yourself in that case, which can very easily happen here in the future, as artificial intelligence is progressing, they will be able to take a perfectly innocent photo and change it into all kinds of erotica. and start to blackmail you or ruin your reputation out there. We got to start today, mom and dad, to say, if you find yourself on the wrong end of one of these things, for Pete's sake, trust me enough to understand that I love you, I believe in you, and I am going to stand by you, and we will work it out together because we're moving into an entire new generation of technology. We can't even tell what's happening in the war that is going on because they can alter the photos that are going on out there. We can't tell what's going on at our own border, but it scares the socks off me of the possibilities. So as technology develops, we're all going to have to get a lot smarter, and we're going to have to forge relationships with our child. If you trust your child enough to give them a device, then your child needs to trust you enough that the two of you can talk about it. And if you think you can't check their phone or they can't talk to you, they're probably not ready for a phone. That might be a big hint right there. So with that, we're starting to come to end the show. I just want to take a couple of minutes and say, all of you folks that support this show, that write to me, that interact, that tell us about it, or, ask for our help. And that often happens where we'll get a text or an email. Now, we're not 911, by the way. If you get somebody in trouble, we're not 911. You call the police and have them look at it. But we do get people who ask for information, that kind of thing, that we can assist. In the meantime, I hope that we see you all at the Rock Church. This is Saturday. Starts at 12:30. You can show up as early as 12. I think they're going to have refreshments there. They're going to have a big session. Then they're going to have a breakout session. Your kids will be in programs that are age appropriate and just some incredibly fine speakers, including the device dog from Riverside County, but the San Bernardino County Sheriff ladies are going to be there, and men, by the way, and they'll be in various kinds of breakout sessions for both parents and teenagers. It is absolutely free. It is March 3rd at about 12:30. The Rock Church is 2345. You ought to be able to remember that. 2345 Waterman, South Waterman, by the way, in San Bernardino on March 3rd. You can go online and register. They're putting out flyers everywhere. It's going to be a big event with a lot of really powerful speakers in ways that you don't normally get all together in one location. And I'm privileged to be able to work with them. This is so important. What I loved about the Rock Church is they value their families and they value the intent of families and kids to do what is right, to do what is responsible, to not be blindsided, but also to respect the particular age group for what you're talking about. And I think that is just so, so important. So I'm very, very blessed to be with them. So next week, I'm going to go back to my series because we have this situation taking place across the United States where literally from Pakistan, Nigeria, Philippines, all kinds of places, Ivory Coast, where these kids, especially on the video game chat rooms, Discord and, playing out of Fortnite and like that. And the kids are all excited. They get involved. They start to have friendships. And the next thing you know, they've either had their photo taken on live streaming or they've sent a photo. And now it is all about money. In the past, it's been about pedophiles getting more photos. But now it's about third world countries wanting money from our kids. If you have a child playing on a video game, set them down. Go to millionkids.org. We post this stuff. And share these stories with your kids. Go to YouTube and just put in sextortion and teen suicide, and you can look at the various stories. Please talk to your children. They're precious. They're smart. These are kids that are super achievers, very disciplined, very well liked. And I think they were afraid they had failed and that they couldn't share it with someone else. We got to get out ahead of that. So be sure and join us next Saturday at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer. We'll see you next week. Tell your kids you love them and give your spouse a hug.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.